line, it's a line drive to
Key lime margarita?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Just watch.
Whoa.
Hi.
Go for it.
Thanks.
What about me?
Got you covered.
Hey.
Whoa.
Hey.
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 Lefty O'Doul's drink mixes at these fine stores.
What are you doing? I'm getting the girl back.
With a live audience at the Gold Dust Lounge in Fisherman's Wharf, it's the Will and Willie Show, brought to you by Lefty O'Doul's Drink Mixes, your bartender in a bottle. I'm Paul Wells.
I'm Will Durst. And I'm Willie Brown.
And our guest in this segment,
Mr. Dan Ashley.
Dan Ashley, ABC TV Channel 7 news anchor in the evenings. This band Push will play after we do our show because this is a great setup for a band as well as for our talk show.
We got the band here. We'll play after the show. I'm glad to be here. You guys, thank you all.
What is the judgment of Nuremberg glass case here for?
Because if the audience doesn't like us, we all go hide behind that. Because beer and
like
tomatoes,
the chicken wire in Blues Brothers, yeah.
It's a safety. OSHA has required that of us when we perform publicly. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm thrilled to be here. Congratulations on your birthday, on the bridge naming, Willie. Just fantastic.
Yes.
I have one bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
I'm on my way over to be on your show. We'll cross the bridge, and they charged me the toll. I thought for sure just being on the show, I would get a waiver.
Oh, next time just tell them.
Wait a minute. That's not my end of the bridge. I'm a black guy. They never give a black guy the right end of the bridge where money is.
You got the other end.
Yeah, I got the end where there's no money.
Well, congratulations. No, it's a big honor. Good for you.
The free part.
Yes.
So the FCC made a ruling, actually not a ruling. One of the FCC commissioners decided, why don't we find out how people in TV and radio decide what stories they're going to cover, and then they tried to backpedal furiously saying, oh no, we're not trying to control the news by doing that.
Well,
what is the story?
Well, this SIN study, Critical Information Needs, the Obama administration had decided they were going to go into newsrooms around the country, or suggested they would, and see if the news media outlets in America were serving the public interest. Well, that sort of flies in the face of the First Amendment as far as many in the media are concerned. We are to operate without that kind of oversight. No one is supposed to pass a law or inhibit our freedom to report the news. And of course, if you have a government agency, meaning the administration, even in our environment, kind of checking on us, I think it can infringe on our ability to operate freely without concern in terms of what the government thinks about what we're doing.
It sounds like something Ayn Rand would write about 50 years ago.
Yeah. I think ultimately they're going to continue to backpedal because I think that idea.
Didn't they backpedal?
They have, and I think they'll continue to backpedal. I think it's a dangerous idea from our perspective in the media.
Well, Dan, you may tell the public and our listeners exactly how a show that you're doing on broadcast and how you guys put that show together. What do you decide is appropriate for topic purposes, etc.?
Well, we have, just take an average day at ABC 7, we have figured out over the years that on an average day there may be about 175 news stories that we could cover in a day. That's an average. But that comes from our sources in the field, what our reporters are doing. That comes from what's already out there in the media, newspaper, radio, other media outlets. That comes from what we call daybook items, things that we know. The mayor's having the bridge named after him. We know that in advance. That's a daybook act. We can schedule covering those kinds of things. We make determinations on a number of factors. Breaking news often takes a public priority if the public is in danger. That's always a priority. If there's a fire and it's threatening homes, if there's some maniac on the loose and people are threatened, that takes a priority. The rest of it is based on what we think is important, what we think people will be interested in, and also this day in history test. What we think, when you look back, what we remember about this day in history. What is the most important thing to cover?
And don't you use the print media to give you some idea because of what they have printed based on their overnight?
Sure. We follow all those sources. So if it's in the paper and it's worth us following up and it's part of the news cycle, absolutely. Same thing with radio, same thing with the other television stations. The newspaper will often follow up the next day something that we have reported that day.
Exactly.
If it's out there, it's sort of out there, and if we believe that it needs to be covered more widely, everybody tends to pounce on it.
And what kind of pressure do you get from the network for promotions? Because I noticed that the week before the Oscars, you guys did a lot. ABC7 did a lot of Oscar stories, and leading up to that, was that pressure from the network, or is that just you figure that people are interested and you want them to watch your channel?
Yeah, I don't think, in fairness, Will, it's pressure from the network at all. I think, we're owned by Disney. Disney is producing the Oscars. It is, for our station, it's kind of like the Super Bowl. It's a big deal. A lot of people watch. So we are certainly capitalizing on the fact that so many people will be tuning in on Oscars Sunday, and we want people to know about it, and we want to be involved in that, because so many people who normally may not watch on a daily basis will tune into the Oscars. So it's an opportunity for us to reach that group of people and let them know that we're covering that in a big way, and part of it in a big way.
And one of the good things about the coverage, particularly the red carpet component of it, etc., in spite of the advent of social media, people still get all of their Oscar activity from television.
That's true.
That's one major win for TV.
That's exactly right, Willie. The Oscars, literally, as I said, is kind of like our Super Bowl. One of the things we know about sports programming in an age where everybody looks things up on the internet and DVRs things, they don't do that with sports. Because who wants to watch a game that happened yesterday or 3 hours ago? They watch that live. Same thing with the Oscars. Once you hear who won, why are you going to go back and watch it the next day or that evening? People want to watch that live. You're exactly right.
How long you been in San Francisco?
I have been in San Francisco 19 years.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, it's coming up on 20.
One more year, you're an honorary native.
That's right.
20 years. Yeah.
I'm actually the longest running male news anchor KGO's ever had, believe it or not.
Oh, no.
Our own Ted Koppel.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, these jobs are tough to get, tougher to keep, right? So I'm glad to have been able to keep mine for a while.
And where did you come from?
I moved here from, I was the anchor and investigative reporter in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, lovely
Which is a
town.
wonderful place. I was there for 9 years, and before that, my home state of North Carolina for a couple of years. And I came here.
You're Tar Heel?
Tar Heel, born and bred. I'm a Tar Heel born, I'm a Tar Heel bred, and when I die, I'll be a Tar Heel dead. Rah-rah, Carolina.
Sounds like a Charlie Daniels song.
That's one of our fight songs.
He was born in North Carolina.
So I've really been very fortunate at TV, as you guys know, in the media. To work in my hometown, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, then to go to a lovely place like Charleston, South Carolina and work, and then come to the best place in the world, San Francisco. In TV, you could be in Keokuk, Iowa. Nothing wrong with Keokuk, Iowa, but not as much fun as Charleston, South Carolina. You can go all kinds of places. Tupelo, Mississippi. You never know where you're going to end
West
up.
Texas. Yeah. You could be stuck at Mineola or Mineral Wells or something. Yeah.
Except none of those people have TV stations. They don't even sell TVs.
It's all El Paso.
There's no Best Buy.
They get El Paso's news.
So it's a great privilege to have been here all these years, I have to say. So.
And all the changes that have taken place in all that time period, Dan actually has not been affected.
No, not even by HD.
No.
That's a little scary when they came out.
Some people, I gotta say, some people have not made the transition to HD quite gracefully, if you know what I mean.
It's very unforgiving. I will tell you a funny story. One of our media managers who is in charge of our editing, one of my favorite stories, sometimes at night they'll put some cookies out on the desk there at night so people working the late shift. And I walked by and I grabbed a couple of cookies. And Joe, our media manager, who is Mr. Buff, in great shape, exercises nonstop, he looked at me as I picked up the cookies and he said, not going to say anything, Dano, except we're in HD now, right? Put the cookies back.
What, you look like Mario,
twice.
what's his name? The Republican who did the Rubio. Mario Rubio did
yeah.
the State of the Union the previous year where he had to reach for the water and he was
water,
trying to be off camera.
He was awfully thirsty. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but HD, just one of the changes, and you guys who've been in the media, and Willie, you're in the media now, used to be on the media all the time, we've seen it change so dramatically. When I first started, there were 3, maybe 4 television stations in every community, 3 networks, maybe 4. There was no CNN, there was no Fox, there was no MSNBC, there weren't 5 or 6 or 7 stations in a community doing news, there was no internet, there was no DVR, there was barely VCR. So the universe has changed. The audience is so fractured and has so many different opportunities to get information. It makes it very competitive in a new way.
But I'm a
media.
sucker for the national news because I have friends who are political comics, and they have poli-sci majors from Ivy League universities, and I've seen comics get angry at the audience if they haven't read an article below the fold on page 18 of the New York Times, right? And, oh, how come you don't know about? But my theory is that the national news is pretty much the laid base. You know, I mean, it's like the cover of Newsweek. Newsweek. Yeah, all right. But you know, once
Like the cover of Time.
Talk about changes in the media.
yeah. But once, if it's been on the national news, pretty much everybody in the country, because comedy's all shared references, and I can't talk about stuff unless the audience knows about it, and they have to have, and the national news. So to me, you guys are doing a service to the community and to political comics.
Oh, well, you're kind. You know, it's a great joy, obviously, to go out in the community and find stories and have people trust that you'll report them fairly and honestly. It's a real privilege. We try never to lose sight of that. But, you know, the national news does a terrific job, and we cover national and international stories. Of course, we're following what's happening on the Crimean Peninsula very closely with Vladimir Putin, as you guys have discussed during this hour. But our job principally is the local community, our local audience, covering the news stories that affect them here.
But isn't there a major fight with all the channels now? With, you know, they...
Oh, it's a knockdown, drag-out.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, you start...
But we're winning.
Yeah, KGO.
We're winning. Yeah, no, it's a very competitive environment. But, you know, that's a good thing. And let's go back to the Sin study. It's a good thing that it's competitive in a lot of ways for the audience. It's tough on us in a lot of ways, but it's a very good thing for the audience because it forces us to be out there doing our best, trying our best to come up with the best, most important information that there is out there to gather and report to people. Mm-hmm. And it keeps us sharp. And I think that's a good thing.
Are you reporting? Do you miss it?
I do. You know, I don't do the day of air stuff. I do what we call hold for release, special projects reporting. So I'm out there all the time reporting things that don't have to air today, special projects. So I still keep my hand in that.
But you used to be an investigative reporter.
I was an investigator.
And you were breaking stuff, and there's when you get that one interview and you see the guy's eyes, and you know you got it, and you look at the cameraman and he nods, and you miss that?
That's good stuff. I do. Because I did that for 8 or 9 years, and, you know, I've been to court a number of times because the guy that's in court is there because of my story, so he's not always happy to see me. But you know, the kind of reporting I do now, I was teasing our investigative reporter, Dan Noyes, the other day, who just does great work. Yeah. I was teasing him the other day that we had a young girl come in and want to get into television. She was touring the station, and she asked what he did, and I told her, and I said, the difference between the two of us is everywhere I go to report a story now, people are glad to see me. They're glad I'm there. Dan, nobody wants him showing up.
They think Mike Wallace is there.
And I used to do that. It's much more fun to be wanted to tell the stories.
And how much weather do we need on a half-hour newscast? 3, 4 spots. Okay, just tell me the weather. Do I need a coat? That's all I want to know.
An umbrella, whatever.
Are you suggesting there's too much weather coverage?
Oh, my God.
Is that
10-day forecast? You can't do a 10-day forecast.
Heresy.
Are you crazy?
Well,
just
I will tell you.
making stuff up at that point.
Rolling dice during the commercial breaks to see what he's going to do.
And I'll be back with tonight's forecast. No, tell me now.
My favorite forecast. My favorite forecast. Light during the day, dark at night. That we can guarantee you is going to happen.
The weather is, look out a window, go outside.
Eyewitness weather.
It's funny, we make jokes about that ourselves. But you know, research indicates, believe it or not, one of the most important reasons people tune into television news is for the weather. So we kind of give them what they want, which it can be overdone, I agree.
No matter when they tune in.
Believe it or not, the second is traffic.
Is traffic?
Traffic.
People in this area care a great deal about traffic.
They want to know about traffic.
If you're working in Tupelo, Mississippi, trying to get San Francisco as a reporter, they don't care about traffic. There's no traffic in Tupelo.
We have many bridges in our way here. Many highways.
And Google buses.
And Google buses in the way.
People want to know about Google buses.
Dan Ashley is our guest on the Will and Willie Show. ABC TV anchor, his band Push will perform after we do the show. Our fourth segment is a Q&A with the audience here. Would you stay with us here?
I'd love to. You know, we always say in reporting, the question never gets you in trouble, only the answer. So.
And with that in mind,
Well, that's the end of our third segment, right?
yeah, we got one
my
more to do
God.
it.
We're whipping right through this.
Willie's still sitting up. Live with a live audience at the Gold Dust Lounge at
A
Fishermans Wharf.
non-studio audience.
Yes, it's the Will and Willie Show, brought to you by Lefty O'Doul's Drink Mixes, your bartender in a bottle. I'm Paul Wells.
I'm Will Durst.
And I'm Willie the Brown.
Willie
I'm Dan
the Brown.
Ashley.
And he's
Sorry.
Dan
And
Ashley.
Dan-
We'll be right
Dan
back.
Ashley.
I mean, really, right back. 30 seconds. I'm not kidding.
It's the Will, Willie, and Wells and Ashley show.